I'm enjoying a beautiful run here in City Park. It's almost sunset. The lighting is just so beautiful here. I hope someday you're able to run in Colorado because it is simply stunning. But what I wanted to talk about in this video was performance multipliers and how the right performance multipliers can really be your insurance policy against injury. Now, when we talk about performance multipliers, what does that even mean? This is actually a really fun concept that I have that really talks to certain training strategies that have outsized benefits for distance runners, but with very little risk, with very little drawbacks to you, the runner. Now, we can think of something like high mileage running. High mileage running is a really good thing. It's gonna make you stronger. It's gonna really catapult your performances forward, but it's not a performance multiplier because it's very risky. The risk of injury from running more and more miles is fairly substantial. And the process of getting there, the actual building of that mileage, is the riskiest part of all. So while high mileage and other things like really hard workouts, for example, are great indicators of how well a runner might do in a race, they're also very risky. So we don't consider them performance multipliers. Now instead, a performance multiplier is something that really doesn't have any drawbacks to it. You can think of really dialing in your nutrition. What's the drawback of that? You are only going to benefit by improving your nutrition, by improving the nutrient density of your meals, and really making sure that you're fueling appropriate for all the different runs that you're doing. Sleep is another amazing performance multiplier. And if we're talking about injury prevention, sleep is one of the more important performance multipliers that we can really work on in our training. And that's because if you were to look at one of the biggest injury risks among runners, it's actually sleep. The runners who don't sleep as much as they should, maybe less than 7 hours per night, actually have a much higher injury risk. So if you're someone who is struggling a lot with injury and you can't seem to go through an entire season or training cycle, let's be real honest about your sleep. Look at your sleep habits. If you're sleeping less than 7 hours a night and you're putting in hard training, hard workouts, you're really pushing the envelope when it comes to your effort, when it comes to running, we really need to make good sleep a consistent habit. Not only are you going to reduce your injury risk, but you're going to better adapt to all those hard workouts, and your recovery is going to be improved, and you're going to end up being a much faster runner. Now, one of the other performance multipliers that I think is really, really beneficial for runners is strength training. Now, strength training is one of those performance multipliers that has a very big impact on your injury risk. And that's because aside from your training, strength training is the #1 way of reducing your injury risk and making you a more durable, injury resilient runner. So when it comes to injury prevention, to staying healthy long term, and particularly cutting out those season-ending injuries. Like, look, let's be honest. We're runners. We are going to be experiencing niggles and little aches and pains all the time. That just comes with the territory of participating in a sport with a lot of impact force. And I do think that running is an impact sport. It's not you versus another competitor. It's you versus the ground. And there's certainly a lot of impact with every single step that we take. Now, if we get our strength training dialed in, this is our insurance policy against injuries. And so if you are a runner who might be getting a lot of injuries, the #1 thing I would say is let's first make sure our training is dialed in. If your training is structured appropriately, you're doing workouts that are appropriate for your fitness level, you're doing workouts that are appropriate for the time of the season that you're in, and workouts that are appropriate for your goal race. If you are progressing in mileage and in your long run distance the right way, and the pattern of intensity and the pattern of effort throughout the week is properly patterned, so all that effort isn't clustered too close together. In other words, the training density of your training is appropriate. That's the #1 injury prevention strategy that you have, good training. #2, let's make sure we're getting enough sleep. That is a huge performance multiplier. And #3, strength training. Now, if you are new to strength training, I know that if you're like me, you'd rather be out there running some extra miles. I totally get it. I absolutely despise my time in the weight room. I'm not gonna lie about it. Most of the time you're just standing around. But with that said, I do it because I know that it enables me to do the thing that I love, which is running. So I am much more consistent now with my strength training than I ever have been before, because I'm fairly injury prone, especially when I'm training really, really hard. When I was in college running 80 miles a week, 85 miles a week, I was hurt almost every season. If I knew then what I knew now, then I would have been a much less injury prone runner. Now, if you're not new to strength training and you don't really like it, I have a very easy way for you to get started with strength training, and that is to simply sandwich your runs. Let's do a dynamic warm-up at the beginning. Let's do some runner-specific strength or core work at the end, and that's gonna be really helpful at, number one, having you do some strength training, but number two, making it a consistent habit. And once you start experiencing how you feel when you start warming up properly and then cooling down properly, once you start gaining that extra strength, once you start cooling down by going through a larger range of motion, by really working your muscles in different ways than you do when you're out there running, you're gonna feel a lot better throughout the day. And of course, your injury risk is going to be a lot lower. So my message to all the runners out there is to look for those performance multipliers, those things that have a lot of benefits, but don't really have too many drawbacks. Things like getting great sleep, dialing in your nutrition, and starting a consistent strength habit. Focus on these performance multipliers. They will be your insurance policies against injury, and you're gonna be much, much faster as a result of that. This video is sponsored by Inside Tracker, our newest partner for the YouTube channel, and I couldn't be more excited. They are an ethical company. They are a company that I've been using personally for years, and they're one of the most reputable blood testing companies in the country. Inside Tracker tests your blood very simply. They look at over 40 different biomarkers, from stress hormones like cortisol to testosterone levels and vitamin D, also that you know what's going on inside your body. So you can tell if you're undertraining, you're overtraining, you're optimally training, or if you just have any other health issues that might be going on that might be impacting your running. And like I said, I've been using them for years. I've gotten numerous ultimate tests, and I'm about to get my third, and I added on the DNA kit. This is gonna be really special for me, just to get a more in-depth look at what's going on inside me, so that I know if there are any red flags that I have to address. And that part of the whole procedure is why I love Inside Tracker, because you know what they do? They don't just give you a report showing you how your markers might be in the zone or outside the zone. They tell you how to improve them. So if you are too low or too high with any of these metrics, they give you science-backed ways to improve upon them through diet, exercise, or lifestyle changes. So I'm super happy about this partnership. And if you go to insidetracker.com/strengthrunning, use code strengthrunning, you're gonna get 25% off any test that they have. This is a great offer, and I'm really excited to partner with this company, so I hope you take advantage of it. That's insidetracker.com/strengthrunning, and use code strengthrunning to save 25% off on any test. I forgot to mention, the other great thing about incorporating more of these insurance policies against injury is that you can actually make more mistakes with your training, which seems like something that you don't actually want to do, but at the end of the day, it's inevitable. We all make mistakes with our training. We go on that group run and we end up running a couple miles longer than we should have, or we go on that group run and it's way faster than we should have. Or maybe we're doing a workout with the club and we end up running 2 more repetitions than we probably should have. All of these examples are examples of simply making a mistake and doing a little bit too much too soon before you're ready for it. And that's gonna happen to all of us at some point or another. Whether you run with a group that's a little faster than you run a little bit longer, you get lost and you end up running a lot more than you had really planned for. So no matter what kind of mistake it is, these insurance policies are really going to be beneficial at guarding your body against injuries. So when in doubt, look for those insurance policies.